Hello there. This is not going to be a fancy video because I identify as analog American. This isn't AI, and I am not Russian misinformation. What I am is a red-blooded American citizen, and I have something to say about something John Thune has said about me and millions of other American citizens like me. And the crux of it, of course, is the SAVE Act, which of course I support and we overwhelmingly support. And not only that, but I, as an American citizen, have been using my right and the channels available to me to try and get in contact with Mr. Thune. So we're talking phone, we're talking email, we're talking social media, so that we can voice our support for getting the SAVE Act passed, because it is not the end all. It is the start and the baseline of getting voter integrity and fair elections back in this nation after cycles of obvious blatant voter fraud. So it shouldn't be too much to ask for me to have my vote actually count and not be offset by dead voters or illegal immigrants or 3 a.m. ballot dumps or Smartmatic shenanigans or foreign interference. It really isn't too much to ask. And it's very frustrating when countries like Somalia, where we get quality learning centers, and Ilhan brother lover Omar have voter ID before we do. So the SAVE Act has been hanging out on John Thune's desk, and I, like many American citizens, have been trying to say, hey, I support this. Can you get this passed? Can you do what you need to do? Because we want voter integrity. And I, like the many citizens that I've been talking to who have been trying to reach him, like I have gotten nothing but crickets until recently. You see, a couple days ago, I read an NBC News article, and it was talking about the SAVE Act and all the Republican shenanigans going on behind closed doors. And while it was your typical demoralization exercise that comes from the malicious satanic media, there was a quote in there from John Thune that just made me stop, and I had to chew on it. And I was just like, man, I'm not going to let this one slide. You see, when asked about all of us who are really trying hard to let him know that we support the SAVE Act and we want it passed already, John Thune said that we are, and I quote, part of a paid influencer ecosystem. I know, right? That's just not nice. You see, the crickets were less insulting than being told that I am part of a paid influencer ecosystem. Like, I was insulted on multiple levels with that one. So, allow me to address why. And Mr. Thune, I'm not even going to bother with the senator honorific because you were elected to represent we the people, but I've seen more shenanigans than representation. So for right now, you are Mr. Thune, okay? But should you happen to finally have the courtesy, please hear me out here. You see, number one, I haven't seen a single red cent for supporting voter integrity. I haven't seen a single dime in my bank account or a check in the mail for wanting my vote to actually count and not be offset by fraud. In fact, I and millions of others like me we are something that keeps you and others like you awake at night. You see, we are people who love this country so much that we're actually fighting for it for free. My values are not for sale, Mr. Thune. My vote is not for sale, Mr. Thune. My values and my votes are both informed as best as possible by the U.S. Constitution on my bookshelf and by the Bible on my nightstand. You, sir, are wearing those values like a skin suit so that you can get in and then get in and get our votes and then thrive in the ecosystem that I see. You see, someone here in this conversation is getting paid. It's not me. And someone here in this conversation exists in an ecosystem, the uniparty ecosystem, aka the swamp. And this may be very inconvenient to you, but the reason that Donald Trump has been overwhelmingly elected is because we the people are tired of that. And not only we the people, Mr. Thune, you should really take note of the fact that Generation Z, like the kids who are voting in their first election, overwhelmingly turned out for Donald Trump because they are tired of that uniparty owning their lives and canceling out their votes. They want to know that changes can be effected from the federal level while they're working on what they can do on the local level. And you are kind of showing them that you're just part of that uniparty ecosystem instead of someone who would be willing to work with them and help them to change that. You are part of a system where half of them are calling for the open destruction of this nation. Actually, I'm going to be honest there, it's less than half, but they capture the media and they're really good because of those voter frauds and making them look like they're actually more than that. But let's just say there is a giant portion of that uniparty that does not want this nation to thrive and that wants just simple American citizens like me to be destroyed. I don't know if you slept through the history lesson on communism, Mr. Thune, but real communism has been tried many times. And you may think that you're going to be doing just fine by rolling along and letting them do what they want while you sit there and be controlled opposition. But Mr. Thune, allow me to tell you, it does not go well for controlled opposition in communist societies. And you're sitting there going, oh, come on, I'm being a little hyperbolic. Have you seen New York City and Seattle? Have you seen what the Uniparty is calling for? Like that other side, you know? Yeah, this concerns me as an American citizen. If the least I can do to help be able to offset this is have something as simple as voter ID and proof of citizenship so that I can have a chance to fight that, because you see, I love rugged individualism. I think it's fantastic. Then yeah, I'm actually going to bother you, and it annoys me that you're thriving in this ecosystem. But you see, it's not the getting paid part. It's not the ecosystem part. I mean, those were insulting on their own, but the one that really just got me and just made me go, Mr. Thune, you called me and millions of others like me an influencer. You know what an influencer does, Mr. Thune? They manipulate. They are insidious and they are malignant and they are mercenary. And to be equated with that is probably the most insulting part of that. I do not influence. If anything, I try to do my best to encourage. I encourage people to use their own research, to use their own eyes, to use their own brains, to be proactive in their lives and to embrace rugged individualism. And Mr. Thune, I know I've been giving it to you here for about 7 minutes going on now, but for what it's worth, can I encourage you to please just listen to us? Can I encourage you to stop ignoring us and take us at our word? We don't hate you, but we're getting mighty annoyed with the fact that you're wanting it to continue to be business as usual, and instead of letting what we, the people, actually voted for occur. And whatever you may think of President Trump, I think you've made it pretty clear right now that you don't like him. The fact is that we elected him. You're not representing what we elected. We elected change. And not only are you ignoring that, you're showing the young kids that showed up that you don't care about that change. So can I encourage you to make the choice of listening to We the People and actually being someone who could affect positive change and affect voters, especially the young ones who are starting to be very disillusioned with the fact that your uniparty has been stonewalling everything that President Trump has been trying to get through and change? Instead of acting like a man who has a lot to lose if there were to be an act that ensured voter integrity to be passed. And to any young kids who are watching this, in fact, actually just to anyone, I'm 40, so yeah, to y'all, I'm a whippersnapper. If we were here in person, I'd hand you a Werther's out of my cardigan pocket. But look I want to encourage you. What Mr. Thune is doing, he is not the end all be all. Do not give up simply because people like him, which we call rhinos, Republicans in name only, because they are stonewalling all of this that is trying to happen. Please do not give up simply because they are trying to pause all of this so that they can keep business as usual, okay? One of the most important and relevant Bible passages that I feel applies to today is actually Numbers chapters 13 and 14. And it's where the Israelites actually wanted to go back to Egypt after being led through the Red Sea by God, because going into the promised land was scarier to them than going back into slavery. And that is the one where God said, hey, we're going to wander the desert for 40 years. Not you, don't worry. You just get quick walks. But anyways, and that is where God said we had to wander the desert for 40 years until he knew that those old Egyptian mindsets, Mr. Thune, were out of the Israelite systems and they were spiritually, mentally, and physically prepared to go into the promised land. Okay. I said all of that to say all of this. It doesn't have to be a fight for 40 years, but you still have to keep working and fighting and not let old Egyptian mindsets that are trying to keep business as usual discourage you. Okay? So, yes, it's not just about the SAVE Act. Like, yes, that is the issue here, but the crux of it is that you're insulting us, Mr. Thune, because you cannot bear to actually have to affect change, because you want it to be business as usual, because you sit there and profess your Christianity, but you actually serve money and power. And for all of that, you may as well be James Tallarico. Yeah, I just went there. Anyways, Mr. Thune, we the people are kind of frustrated. And whatever it takes, if it is too much to ask for voter integrity, ask yourself if it's going to be any easier for you if the side that wants this nation destroyed actually gets their way. Okay? So, for all of you who are not John Thune and you made it all the way through this, for what it was worth, I know this was kind of a bit of a excoriating message, but I hope you got something out of this, and I love you and I thank you, and I truly hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. And Mr. Thune, for you, I'm not going to be one of those, oh, I'm praying for you kind of people, because honestly, I try not to be that hypocritical. But yes, I'm very frustrated. I'll throw out a prayer for you. But really, what I pray is that you listen to us and you realize that the uniparty politics are not going to serve you, and they do not serve this nation. Just because we cannot pay you to vote for us and vote in our interest doesn't mean that we don't support and have a voice and want to be heard. Okay? Also, say hi to my dog. Don't adjust your sets. He really is that big. Anyways, Mr. Thune, stop insulting us and stop ignoring us, okay? I really do wish you the best. I don't know you, so personally I don't really care about you, but I do care that you are an elected official who's supposed to be representing us. So I pray you start representing us, okay? Everyone, all of you, thank you. God bless.